What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, you know, I sound like a broken record, but this guy right here, man, he's in over his head. He's in over his head, and it's so obvious. And, you know, I don't really fault him, you know. Uh, hey, he wanted to be president, he got it. I don't even fault the vice president. She's a opportunist who has worked her way up, worked her way up to where she is. She's, done a lot of jobs to get to where she is. Blow jobs, hand jobs, feet jobs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, I don't blame them. I blame the people who put these motherfuckers in office. Sorry. I blame the 81 million that voted for them. Oh, what were we supposed to vote for? Well, you didn't have to vote. Would that be crazy? You hold a presidential election and no one showed up to vote. How would they decide? Coin flip? What would they do? Hold another election? Put a gun to your head and make you vote? But both choices were poor. And by no means am I a Republican. Fuck them too. But I'm always against the party in power. So that's who I'm aiming at. And you look at the news that came out last week, the economy actually retracted over 1%, 1.4% over the first quarter of 2022. Inflation, which uh, Joe Biden said would, be only a temporary thing, that is not correct. Inflation has reared its ugly head. We're paying higher prices at the pump. We're paying higher prices with food. We're paying higher as far as energy bills, light bills off the fucking roof. It sort of like reminds me of the early 1980s, late 70s. Morale is low in this country. You know what I'm saying? You get pissed off. You see all this money is being divvied out to people who aren't really supposed to fucking be here. I'm sorry. It might sound crass and cruel, but it is. It's the fucking truth. You see them easily going out and spending $33 billion in aid to Ukraine, and what the fuck they got to do with me and you? But you know, all they do is raise our taxes. And you look at the polls, is it a surprise? Is it a surprise that this guy right here is hemorrhaging support from young people, hemorrhaging support from Latinos who voted 61% uh, back in this guy in 2020? Now, almost 2 to 1, they disapprove rather than approve of this guy. Even in the most staunch, historically, the last 60 years, the most staunch constituency of this wretched Democratic Party, even among us, the support is waning. When this man was inaugurated, he had 91% support in the polls among African Americans. That is now down to 69%. That might sound like a lot, but I'm gonna tell you something. If old JoJo McBiden, if he only got 69% of the black vote in 2024, he would lose in a landslide. That would be the lowest percentage of the black vote for a candidate, for a Democratic candidate. That would be the lowest percentage since 1960. And that's when the Democratic Party still had sway in the South and in the Midwest, which is evaporated. So they can't afford that. Now, old Joe McBiden, he's not won the ballot this upcoming election of midterms, and but it's still going to be a referendum on him and his administration. And you look at all of the things that are going on just socially that a lot of Americans don't like, as far as, the culture wars. A lot of us are seeing things that we don't fucking like. I'm not going to go into specifics here. They're associated with the left wing of the so-called Democratic Party, so-called progressive wing. I'm not talking about anybody that's progressive, but it's just certain things some of us don't particularly care for. When you look at some of the initiatives that have been put out and enforced in some Democratic leaning states, what have you seen? In New York, they had a lot of initiatives put out, and what are you seeing? A 40% rise in crime over the past 2 years. Violent crimes. I got a friend of mine who lives in New York, and he's saying that it's gone from being one of the safest cities in America to being one of the roughest. All of these things are going to come to a head on election day. I think I'm going to go live on election day. I think I'm going to go live, man. I don't like going live. I like doing videos. But I might go live on election night because I have a feeling that they're going to suffer historic losses on that particular day, Democrats. And it's not that I think the Republicans are better. They're not. Because they're going to be full of themselves and fuck themselves. Or what's going to happen is every fucking time the Republican Party gets some type of mandate or so-called mandate in the polls, they get full of themselves. And what they're going to do is uh, they're going to try to do everything to Biden what the Democrats did to Trump. They're going to try to impeach Biden and, look, they're going to try to do a lot of shit. And one thing that the Republican Party does that shoots themselves in the foot all the time is that when they get into a position of where they're in power, instead of being activists or instead of being the initiators, they like to play the role of punisher and obstructionist. That's what they do. They like to punish when they're in power, and when they're not in power but still have a sizable minority, they like to obstruct. And American people get tired of that. And then 2024, what I'm think is going to happen is Biden's going to have a comeback, and the 2024 election is going to be very, very close. I don't buy for a minute that whoever wins in 2024 is going to win in a landslide. I don't buy that. I've been following politics way too long to know how this shit works. It's a pendulum. It's always cyclical. But anyway, I could be wrong, but we'll see. Tell me what you guys think.